Srivasadi Gaurava. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 10, Text 4. Na vayam naradeva pramata bhavan niyamanupatha sadva eva.
न वयं नरदेवाः प्रमता भवन्नियम अनुपथा
सात्वत एव
Vahama ayam aduneva nyukto pina dhrutam rajati nanena.
वहाम अयम अधुना एव नियुक्तो अपि न द्रुतं अनेनः
Saha vodum uha vayam parayama iti.
सह वोढ्युम् ऊह वयं पारयामि
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Lord, please note that we are not at all negligent in discharging our duties. We have been faithfully carrying this palanquin according to your desire, but this man, who has been recently engaged to work with us, cannot walk very swiftly. Therefore, we are not able to carry the palanquin with him. Does anyone remember where we are right now? And who's speaking to who?
The palanquin pickers are speaking to the king.
Yeah, that's right. And he's upset that because the palanquin is not being carried properly, Jaḍa is, he's letting all the ants go, so he's not able to carry the palanquin properly. Yes, thank you. The other palanquin carriers were Shudras, whereas Jaḍa was not only a high caste Brahmana, but also a great devotee. Shudras do not sympathize with other living beings, but a Vaishnav cannot act like a Shudra. Whenever a Shudra and a Brahmana Vaishnav are combined, there will certainly be imbalance in the execution of duties. The Shudras were walking with the palanquin without at all caring for the ants on the ground, but Jaḍa could not act like a Shudra, and therefore difficulty arose. Samsargiko dosha eva nunam ekashyapi sarvesham samasargikanam.
सांसार्गिक दोष एव नूनम् एकस्य सर्वेषां सांसारिकारणम्
Bhavitam arhatiti nischitya nishamya kripana vacho raja Rahūgaṇa.
भवितुम् अर्हति इति निश्चित्य निशम्य कृपणवच राजा रहुगणः
Asita ridopi nisargena balatkrit isad utthita manyur.
उपासीत वृद्ध अपि निस्केन बलात् कृत्य ईशत उत्थितम्
Avishpashta Brahma Tejasam Jata Vedasam Iva Rajasa Matir Ah.
अविस्पष्ट ब्रह्म तेजसं जात वेदसम इव रजसा आवृतमति आहा
King Rahūgaṇa could understand the speeches given by the carriers who were afraid of being punished. He could also understand that simply due to the fault of one person, the palanquin was not being carried properly. Knowing this perfectly well and hearing their appeal, he became a little angry. Although he was very advanced in political science and was very experienced, his anger arose due to his inborn nature as a king. Actually, King Rahūgaṇa's mind was covered by the mode of passion, and he therefore spoke as follows to Jaḍa, whose Brahman effulgence was not clearly visible, being covered like a fire covered by ashes. The distinction between Rajogun and Sattvagun is explained in this verse. Although the king was very upright and advanced in political science and governmental management, he was nonetheless in the mode of passion. And therefore, due to a slight agitation, he became angry. Jaḍa, despite all kinds of injustice endured because of his deaf and dumb display, remained silent by the strength of his spiritual advancement. Nonetheless, his Brahma Teja, his Brahman effulgence, was indistinctly visible in his person. So the king, of course, king, Kshatriya, mode of passion, leader, politician, managing. But from mode of passion, it's very easy to come to the mode of ignorance. So he got angry. Whereas Jaḍa, he's on the liberated platform. He's on the spiritual platform. So that's why he has this Brahman effulgence. Every soul has this. If every soul is so effulgent, very effulgent, because we are, after all, part and parcel of God. No, we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is so unlimitedly effulgent. We also have effulgence coming from us. But of course, his effulgence was not completely visible. It was covered. The example is given like fire is covered by the smoke, like that. It was covered. But nonetheless, it was there. Aho kashtam bhratur vyaktam urup parishranto dirgham advanam.
Aho kashtam bhrant vyaktam uru parishranta dirgham advanam.
Eka eva uhivan shuchiram nati pivana sam nanango charasa.
Ek eva ahi uhivana suchiram na atipivana samhanan anga jarasa.
Chopadruto bhavan sakheno eva para ete sanghatina iti bahu.
Jo ubdruv bhavam sakhe no eva apare sampina iti bahu.
Vipralabdhopi avidyaya rachita dravya guna karmashayasva.
Vipralabdha api avidya rachita drivya guna karma ashaya savaha.
Charama kalevare vastuni samsthana visheshe ham mameti.
Charam kalevare avastuti samsthana visheshe aham mama iti.
Anadhyaropita mithya pratyayo brahma bhutas tushnim shibikam purvavat uvaha.
Andhaya ropit mithya pratyayah brahma bhutah tushnim shibikama purva vrata avaha.
King Rahūgaṇa told Jaḍa, "How troublesome this is, my dear brother. You certainly appear very fatigued because you have carried this palanquin alone, without assistance for a long time and for a long distance. Besides that, due to your old age, you have become greatly troubled. My dear friend, I see that you're not very firm, not very strong and stout. Aren't your fellow carriers cooperating with you?" In this way, the king criticized Jaḍa with sarcastic words. Yet, despite being criticized in this way, Jaḍa had no bodily conception of the situation. He knew that he was not the body, for he had attained his spiritual identity. He was neither fat, lean, nor thin, nor had he anything to do with a lump of matter, a combination of the 5 gross and 3 subtle elements. He had nothing to do with the material body and its 2 hands and legs. In other words, he had completely realized his spiritual identity, Aham Brahmasmi. He was therefore unaffected by this sarcastic criticism from the king. Without saying anything, he continued carrying the palanquin as before. So Jaḍa, he is a Jivan Mukta. Although he is inside this body, he is completely self-realized. He is realized, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am a spirit soul. So he's not identifying himself with the body. Jaḍa was completely liberated. He did not even care when the dacoits attempted to kill his body. He knew that he certainly was not the body. Even if the body were killed, he would not have cared, for he was thoroughly convinced of the proposition found in Bhagavad Gita 2:20, Na hanyati hanyamane sharire. He knew that he could not be killed even if his body were killed. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The soul can never be killed. Jaḍa knew this. He completely realized the knowledge. So there is theoretical knowledge, there is realized knowledge. So Jaḍa has realized the knowledge. Although he did not protest, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his agent could not tolerate the injustice of the dacoits. Therefore, he was saved by the mercy of Krishna, and the dacoits were killed. In this case, while carrying the palanquin, he also knew that he was not the body. This body was very strong and stout, in sound condition, and quite competent to carry the palanquin. Due to his being freed from the bodily conception, the sarcastic words of the king did not at all affect him. The body is created according to one's karma, and material nature supplies the ingredients for the development of a certain type of body. So we are getting different types of bodies based on our desire and our karma. That's how we get a body which is supplied to us by material nature, because the body is material, but how we get depends on our desire and our karma. So the soul the body covers is different from the bodily construction. Therefore, anything favorable or mischievous done to the body does not affect the spirit soul. The Vedic injunction is asangohi ayam purusha. The spirit soul is always unaffected by material arrangements. So the soul can never become material. Just like a gold ring falls in the dirt, the gold ring gets covered by the dirt, but the gold cannot be transformed into dirt. The gold is still gold, it's just covered. And once you clean the dirt, the gold will shine again. Similarly, we are spirit souls. We are just covered by this body consciousness. Once we clean that up, we'll also shine. The soul has this Brahma Tej coming from it. Atha punasva shibakayam vishamagatayam prakupita uvacha.
अथ पुनः स्वशिबिकायं विषं गतायां प्रकूपित उवाच
Rahūgaṇa kim idam are tvam jivan mrito mam kadarthi kritya.
रहूगण किम इदम अरे त्वं जीवत मृत्य माम कृत अर्थी कृत्यम
Vratar shasanam aticharasi pramatasya cha te karomi chikitsam.
भृत शासनम अति चरसी प्रमतस्य च ते करोमि चिकित्साम्
Dandapanir iva janataya yatha prakritim swam bhajishyasa iti.
दंडपाणि इव जन्ताया यथा प्रकृतिं स्वाम भजिष्यसे इति.
Thereafter, when the king saw that his palanquin was still being shaken by the carriers, he became very angry and said, You rascal, what are you doing? Are you dead despite the life within your body? Do you not know that I am your master? You are disregarding me and not carrying out my order. For this disobedience, I shall now punish you just as Yamraj, the superintendent of death, punishes sinful people. I shall give you proper treatment so that you will come to your senses and do the correct thing. Evam bhav abadham ape bhasamanam naradevabhimanam.
एवं बहु अवृद्धम अपि भाष्यमाणं नरदेव अभिमानम्
Rajasa tamasanuvidena madena tiraskritta shesha bhagavat priya.
रजसा तमसा अनुविद्धेन मदेन तिरस्कृतम् अशेष भगवत प्रिय
Niketam pandita maninam sa Bhagavan brahmano brahma bhuta.
निकेतं पंडितमानीनं स भगवान ब्राह्मण ब्रह्मभूतः
Sarva bhuta surit atma yogeshvara charya yamnati vyutpana.
सर्वभूतासुरित आत्मा योग ईश्वर चार्ययाम न अति ब्रह्मपत्न
Matim smayamana iva vigata smaya idam aha.
मतिम सौम्यमाना इव विगत सम्यः इदम आहा.
Thinking himself a king, King Rahūgaṇa was in the bodily conception and was influenced by material nature's modes of passion and ignorance. Due to madness, he chastised Jarbarat with uncalled for and contradictory words. Jarbarat was a topmost devotee and the dear abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although considering himself very learned, the king did not know about the position of an advanced devotee situated in devotional service, nor did he know his characteristics. Jadbharat was the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He always carried the form of the Lord within his heart. He was the dear friend of all living beings, and he did not entertain any bodily conception. He therefore smiled and spoke the following words. The distinction between a person in the bodily conception and a person beyond the bodily conception is presented in this verse. In the bodily conception, King Rahūgaṇa considered himself a king and chastised Jarbharat in so many unwanted ways. Being self-realized, Jarbharat, who was fully situated on the transcendental platform, did not at all become angry. Instead, he smiled and began to deliver his teachings to King Rahūgaṇa. A highly advanced Vaishnava devotee is a friend to all living entities, and consequently, he is a friend to his enemies also. In fact, he does not consider anyone to be his enemy. So, on the liberated platform, one sees everyone equally. Surya Sarva Dehinam. He's seeing everyone equally. He is the best friend of everyone. Sometimes a Vaishnava becomes superficially angry at a non-devotee, but this is good for the non-devotee. We have several examples of this in Vedic literature. Once Narad became angry with the two sons of Kuvera, Nalakuvara and Manigreva, and he chastised them by turning them into trees. The result was that later they were liberated by Lord Sri Krishna. So soon we are going to be singing this pastime every day for a month. The month of Kartik is starting soon, 28th. So we can see that the devotee, even if he gets angry, it's for our benefit. Not that he has anything against us. No. This is the position of the pure devotee. The pure devotee is the best friend of all living entities. The devotee is situated on the absolute platform, and when he is angry or pleased, there is no difference, for in either case, he bestows his benediction. Yeah, so angry or pleased, he is bestowing his benediction. Narad Muni superficially seemed to be angry with Nala, Kuvera and Manigriv, but he gave them the highest benediction. They could see Lord Krishna. So this is the liberated platform, the Brahma Bhuta platform, the absolute platform. Brahmana Uvacha.
ब्राह्मण उवाच
Vayoditam vyaktam avipralabdham.
तव्यो उदितं व्यक्तम् अभिप्रलब्धम्
Bhartu same syad yadi veera bharaha.
भर्तु समे स्यात् यदि वीरभार्य
Gantur yadi syad adhigamyamadva.
गन्तु यदि स्वात् अधिगम्यम् अध्वा
Viveti rasho na vidam pravadaha.
पीवा इति राशो न विदां प्रवाद.
The great Brahmana Jaḍa said, "My dear king and hero, whatever you have spoken sarcastically is certainly true. Actually, these are not simply words of chastisement, for the body is the carrier. The load carried by the body does not belong to me, for I am the spirit soul. There is no contradiction in your statements, because I am different from the body. I am not the carrier of the palanquin. The body is the carrier. Certainly, as you have hinted, I have not labored carrying the palanquin, for I am detached from the body. You have said that I am not stout and strong, and these words are befitting a person who does not know the distinction between the body and the soul. The body may be fat or thin, but no learned man would say such things of the spirit soul. As far as the spirit soul is concerned, I am neither fat nor skinny. Therefore, you are correct when you say that I am not very stout. Also, if the object of this journey and the path leading there were mine, there would be many troubles for me. But because they relate not to me, but to my body, there is no trouble at all. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that one who is advanced in spiritual knowledge is not disturbed by the pains and pleasures of the material body, because he does not identify himself with the body at all. His consciousness is completely absorbed in Krishna. The material body is completely separated from the spirit soul, and the pains and pleasures of the body are superfluous. It's because with the mind, with the agent of the mind, we identify ourselves with the body, with the false ego. We are identifying ourselves as the body, and with the mind, we keep thinking, oh, this is painful and this is pleasure. But the liberated soul, because he's completely understood he's the soul, he's situated in his true ego, so his mind is also spiritual. The practice of austerity and penance is meant for understanding the distinction between the body and the soul, and how the soul can be unaffected by the pleasures and pains of the body. So this is the reason why people undertake austerity, penances, to understand that we are not the matter, but we are the soul. Bharata was actually situated on the platform of self-realization. He was completely aloof from the bodily conception. Therefore, he immediately took this position and convinced the king that whatever contradictory things the king had said about his body did not actually apply to him as a spirit soul. Because the king was saying, right, oh, you are not strong enough, and you're not strong enough. So Bharata is saying, yeah, it's true. I'm the soul. I'm not the body. So I'm not stout and strong. Neither am I lean or fat or thin. I'm the spirit soul. Staulyam. How does it go? Neha?
काशयं व्याधय आदयश्च
स्थौल्यं कार्षयं व्यधया आदयश्च
स्थौल्यं कार्षयं व्याधय आदयश्च
क्षुद्रेद्भयं कलेर्इच्छा जरा च
श्रुततृभयं कली इच्छा जरा च
निद्रारतिर्मन्युर्अहं मदशुचो
निद्रारतिमन्यु अहं मदशुचो
देहे न जातस्य हि मे नशन्ति
देहे निजातस्य हि मे न सन्ति
Sadness, thinness, bodily and mental distress, thirst, hunger, fear, disagreement, desires for material happiness, old age, sleep, attachment for material possessions, anger, lamentation, illusion, and identification of the body with the self are all transformations of the material covering of the spirit soul. A person absorbed in the material bodily conception is affected by these things. But I am free from all bodily conceptions. Consequently, I'm neither fat nor skinny, nor anything else you have mentioned. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Deha Smriti Nahi Yar, Samsara Bandha Kaha Tar. One who is spiritually advanced has no connection with the body or with the bodily actions and reactions. When one comes to understand that he is not the body and therefore he is neither fat nor skinny, one attains the topmost form of spiritual realization. So, completely being detached from the body. Understanding body does not belong to me. I am separate identity than the body. This is what Bharata is understood, that he's detached, he is not the body. He's inside the body. He's a separate identity. When one is not spiritually realized, the bodily conception entangles one in the material world. At the present moment, all human society is laboring under the bodily conception. Therefore, in the Shastras, people in this age are referred to as Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animals. No one can be happy in a civilization conducted by such animals. Our Krishna consciousness movement is trying to raise fallen human society to the status of spiritual understanding. So we may feel offended how the Shastras are calling me two-legged animal, but because the difference that sets us apart from animals is this inquiry, the jigyasa, that now we have this human form of life. Let us begin inquiry into the supreme truth. That is the beginning of human life. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. So Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that the Krishna consciousness movement is trying to raise everyone to come to the spiritual platform, understand spiritual knowledge, give this spiritual knowledge to everyone. It is not possible for everyone to become immediately self-realized like Bharata. However, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 18, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By spreading the Bhagavad principles, we can raise human society to the platform of perfection. So, Bhagavad Dharma, spreading the Bhagavad Dharma, that is, hearing and chanting. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By serving Bhagavatam, by serving the devotee Bhagavatam, then Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, all the unwanted things in our heart gradually will go away. And gradually we can come to the platform of liberation. When one is not affected by the bodily conceptions, one can advance to the Lord's devotional service. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. The more we advance our freedom from the bodily conception, the more we are fixed in devotional service, and the more we are happy and peaceful. So we have been bound to this body. We are not able to understand we are not the body, we are spirit souls. And our eternal activity is engaging in devotional service. So the more we can do that, the more we can engage in devotional service, the more we will become happy, the more we will become peaceful. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this devotional service, Raja Vidya Raja Goyam, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, is the king of knowledge, is the highest knowledge, is the king of knowledge, and Susukham Kartam Avyaya. It's blissfully performed, joyfully performed. When one engages in devotional service, one becomes joyful and peaceful because one can understand Krishna's position as the supreme controller, as the best friend of everyone, as the supreme proprietor. So then one becomes peaceful. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says that those who are too materially affected continue the bodily conception. Such persons are connected with different bodily symptoms, whereas one freed from bodily conception lives without the body, even in the material condition. So lives without the body doesn't mean he's a ghost, but he's inside the body, but he's understood he's not the body. He's understood that he's the pure spirit soul. So his consciousness is completely purified. Any questions or comments?
So what they're trying to stress here again and again is that the realization that Jaḍa Bharatji had, right?
Yeah,
That he was,
that's
he knew that he is not the body because he knew all the experiences that he had had before as a deer, and then he was the king and how he fall down, and right?
yeah. And he has already realized that he's not the
Realized.
body, he's the soul. He's
It's
realized
so.
it. He's understood this knowledge perfectly. So he's on the Brahma Bhuta platform, the Brahman platform. Yeah.
And also the one that you mentioned, the Dvipad Pashu, that
Yeah.
it also we read it in the first chapter in one of the verses that we are called Dvipad Pashu because we are just following the four, the Bhai, Nidra, Ahar, and the
Yeah.
four thing. And what makes us different is only the dharma that we follow, the realization that we have, like as you mentioned, or else we'll be two-legged animal, like the other animal is four-legged, so we'll be two-legged animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we read it in the
Yes.
first chapter, but this is so much, I don't know, it gives you, in this moment, it gives you so much realization that there is so much to do, so much to learn, so much to, like there's a whole different vision to see the life you have got.
Yeah, so true. Yeah.
And where we are wasting. I
Yeah,
don't know. Okay. Oh
Hare
my
Krishna.
God. Yeah, how we
Yeah,
are
Hare
wasting.
Krishna. So yeah, even like how this has been always highlighted by King Bharat's life, and then as a king in his body as a king, then in his body as a deer, and now in his body as a Jaḍa Bharat, he knows that devotional service was all that he needed to do. This body is not what was important. So yes, this is something we should continue to do. Just keep chanting, hearing. This is what probably I understand is more highlighted.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we go on to 11. Jivan Mritatvam Niyamena Rajan
जीवत् मृतत्वं नियमेन राजन्
Adyantavadyat Vikritasya Drishtam
आदि अन्तवृत्त्यात् वृक्कतस्य दृष्टम्
Swaswamya Bhavo Dhruva Idyayatra
स्वसौम्य भावो ध्रुव इङ्ग्य यत्र
Tarhi Uchyate So Vidikritya Yogaha.
तर्हि उच्यते असो विधिकृत्य योगा.
My dear king, you have unnecessarily accused me of being dead, although alive. In this regard, I can only say that this is the case everywhere, because everything material has its beginning and end. As far as you're thinking that you are the king and master and are thus trying to order me, this is also incorrect, because these positions are temporary. Today you are a king and I'm your servant, but tomorrow the position may be changed, and you may be my servant and I your master. These are temporary circumstances created by providence. The bodily conception is the basic principle of suffering in material existence. So this is why we suffer. We are spirit souls. We should be happy, Satchid Ananda. But we suffer because we think we are the body. That's why we suffer. In Kali Yuga, especially, people are so uneducated that they cannot even understand that the body is changing at every moment and that the ultimate change is called death. Yeah, we don't realize, but our child bodies are gone. Prabhupada would say, where is the baby body you had or the child body? It's same us, no? But that body is no more. Hmm. So when we actually give up this physical body, then that is called death. In this life, one may be a king, and in the next life, one may be a dog, according to karma. The spirit soul is in a deep slumber caused by the force of material nature. He is put in one type of condition and again changed into another type. So the soul, what is it doing inside the body? Everything the body is doing, right? The eyes are seeing, the mouth is eating, the tongue is speaking, hands and legs are working. What is the soul doing? Only desires. The soul is only desiring. That's it. He is put in one type of condition and again changed into another type. Without self-realization and knowledge, conditional life continues. And one falsely claims himself a king, a servant, a cat, or a dog. So it's our false ego. It makes us think, oh, I'm a dog, so I must behave like a dog. Or I'm a human being, so I must behave like a human being. Or I'm a tree, or etc., etc. But actually, the soul is the same. We are the same soul. Sometimes we are acting like a dog, sometimes as a demigod, sometimes we are acting as human being. These are simply different transformations brought about by the supreme arrangement. One should not be misled by such temporary bodily conceptions. Actually, no one is master within the material world, for everyone is under the control of material nature, which is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You see, we so badly want to play God. You know how, I don't know if when y'all were small, would y'all play chore police? Somebody's trying to be the police, somebody the thief, or teacher, teacher. Somebody's trying to be
Yes.
teacher, somebody's student. Like we would play all this. So we so much want to play God that we are not able to understand, oh, but there's nothing under my control. And we keep, we get so enamored by the position that we have. not able to understand that everything is under the control of Krishna. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the ultimate master. Sarvaloka Maheshwara is the supreme proprietor. As explained in Caitaniya Caritamita, Ekaleshwara Krishna, Arasa Babhritya. The only master is Krishna, and everyone else is his servant. Forgetfulness of our relationship with the Supreme Lord brings about our suffering in the material world. So the root cause of our suffering, why are we suffering? We have forgotten that we have an eternal relationship with Krishna. And because we have forgotten our eternal relationship, we are thinking we are the body. And because we are thinking of we are the body, we are suffering here. We are actually spirit souls. We should be in the spiritual world, in the spiritual sky. But we are trying to play God here, like how we would play teacher, now we are trying to play God. Vishesha buddhir vivaram manacha.
Vishesha buddhe vivaram manacha.
Vashyama yanna vyavaharatonya.
Pashyam yatta na vyavharat anyat.
Ka ishvarastatra kimishittavyam.
Kam ishvara tatra kim ishtavyam.
Tathapi rajan karavama kimte.
Tadhapi rajan karvam kimte.
My dear king, if you still think that you are the king and I am your servant, and that I am your servant, you should order me and I should follow your order. I can then say that this differentiation is temporary and it expands only from usage or convention. I do not see any other cause. In that case, who is the master and who is the servant? Everyone is being forced by the laws of material nature. Therefore, no one is master and no one is served. Nonetheless, if you think that you are the master and that I am the servant, I shall accept this. Please order me. What can I do for you? It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Aham Mameti. One thinks I am this body, and in this bodily relationship, he is my master, he is my servant, she is my wife, and he is my son. Isn't it? We are like bound. Me and mine. I'm the body, my family, my nation, my society, my friends, my wife, my husband, my son. So all these conceptions are temporary due to the inevitable change of body and the arrangement of material nature. We are not able to understand that all these, what we are calling mind, it will all change once we give up the body. We are not able to understand this. That one day all this will be gone. Then what will happen to that? My this and my that. Then we'll have others. We are gathered together like straws floating in the waves of an ocean. Straws that are inevitably separated by the laws of the waves. Then we come to other straws, and other straws, and other straws. In this material world, everyone is floating on the waves of the ocean of nations. As described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Miche Mayara Vashe Yacha Beshe Kacha Habudubu Bhai Jiva Krishna Das E Vishwas Karila Tar Ara Dukhanai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that all men and women are floating like straws on the waves of material nature. If they come to the understanding that they are eternal servants of Krishna, they will put an end to this floating condition. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3:37, Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhava. Due to the mode of passion, we desire many things, and according to our desire or anxiety, and according to the order of the Supreme Lord, material nature has given us a certain type of body. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava. So, by this mode of passion, we have so many desires. And then the Paramatma, He is fulfilling our desires by the agency of the material nature, by this material energy. What we desire all these material things, and the Paramatma is making that happen for us. For some time we play as master or servant, as actors play on the stage, under someone else's direction. While we are in the human form, we should put an end to this nonsensical stage performance. Yeah, like sometimes the actor is same, but in different movies he acts in different roles. So we are the same soul. Sometimes we are in human body, sometimes dog body, sometimes tree body. Like that we are going along. So in this human life, Prabhupada is explaining that we can put an end to all this acting that we are doing. Yeah, we are acting, we are thinking I'm this body, I'm that body. But our reality is we have a spiritual identity. That's our real identity. So Prabhupada is saying we should put an end to this nonsensical stage performance. We should come to our original constitutional position known as Krishna consciousness. So that is the pure consciousness of every soul. At the present moment, the real master is material nature. Devi Yesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Under the spell of material nature, we are becoming servants and masters. But if we agree to be controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His eternal servants, this temporary condition ceases to exist. So, we are trying to think, no, I am the master. But we don't understand that we are servant of material nature. The modes have bound us, they're making us dance. So it's our choice. We want to dance to Krishna's tune, or we want to dance to the modes of nature. Whose shelter do we want to be? Because we are very tiny. We need shelter. Either shelter of spiritual energy or material energy. The choice is ours. Krishna does not interfere with our choice. But shelter we need. Just like a creeper will always need shelter of a strong tree. Because that's the constitutional position. Similarly, our position is we are minute. We are marginal energy. So we need to take shelter. And Krishna is coming every time. He's sending his devotees, his incarnations to tell us that come to the spiritual world, take shelter of the spiritual energy. And Krishna, once one takes shelter of Krishna, then Krishna makes all arrangements. Did you want to add anything? Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You just finished at a good note. Krishna makes all arrangements.
Yeah, Krishna makes all arrangements. Simply have to call out to him. Thank you so much. Krishna Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare